Shoom. This is Shoom.
Oh yeah,
Shoom is like the craziest thing happening in London at the moment.
And
it is taken over completely everything that's happening in London as far as clubland goes.
Being the young man who wants to do something by himself and not copy the others, not use too much of the tradition, my research was in that direction, to find some way of expressing myself without being a painter, without being a writer, without taking one of these labels.
Story about Burroughs, how he placed his bomb. I don't like the story you have in it. I want Godard to do the story.
And at the present time, that happens to be Acid House,
yeah.
which no doubt everybody's heard about. But we're bringing over the Shoom Club, and everybody wants to go there, and so we're bringing it over here in the hope that everybody will also want to go do it over here.
It's just a...
So what do you think the reason is why we're unattended?
Oh, it's a different crowd.
What's the difference?
Well, it wasn't the old Milky Way crowd at all. I felt as if they were there for something else. I don't know what other things were on the program, boxing and this and that. I felt as if they were waiting for something else, most of them.
I understood you'd given up writing.
Well, I wouldn't say I'd given up writing at all. I was reading from something that I'd written quite recently.
Could you tell more about it?
Well, that was the book I'm writing on Jesus Christ and the Christ virus. The idea that you have one Christ is enough for 2,000 years. Now all of a sudden we're going to have 1 million Christs by replication of the Christ pattern. Everyone saying that I am the way. None comes to the Father except through me. You're going to have total chaos.
What inspired you to write about Jesus Christ?
Important subject. Who was he? Who was his case officer? Obviously Christ was an agent. He said, I am as nothing compared with he who sent me. That means that he's an agent sent by his case officer. Well, who was his case officer? What was his real mission? For one thing, of course, to establish a monopoly on miracles so that miracles henceforth could be performed only by authorized personnel, that is, church personnel. So the church has taken over the whole area of miracles, healing, magic, which under ordinary circumstances is a widely divided function by magic men and healers and whatnot. So the concept of monopoly is inherent in the Christian message. Only one way. The way.
I think could be quite a difficult subject especially for Holland, because I have the idea that a lot of Dutch people think that the influence of Christianity is slowly fading away. I guess there's a big difference between the
It's fading to some considerable extent. I think all the old religions are fading, but they're fading very slowly.
But don't you think that writing a book on Jesus Christ is I have to find a useful word. Well, almost not necessary.
No, I think it's very necessary.
On March 10th, 1956, at 10 o'clock at night, this almost incredible idea came to me. Am I really a spaceman? Do I belong to a new race of earthlings sired by beings from outer space who had intercourse with Earth women? Are my children the first offspring of an interplanetary race? Is this thought in some way related to what is yet to happen in the future? I claim the privilege of asking these and similar questions without fear of being imprisoned for it by any authority whatsoever. I hate the irrational. However, I believe that even the most flagrant irrationality must contain something of rational truth. There is nothing in this human world of ours that is not in some way right, however distorted it may be.
House in Lawrence, Kansas. Thurston and I brought along Super 8 cameras. He took great pleasure in showing us jewel-encrusted knives, gun catalogs, his beloved cats, and the orgone box out back that he built for himself between the pond and the garden. You know, there's just some fleeting impressions of William here. I was very aware of wanting to actually document. We were shooting a lot of film that summer, videotape of the tour and Super 8 cameras, and it was just great fun to see William and to get to hang out with him and get to know him a little bit. He moved to Kansas in the 80s, where he lived on an out-of-the-way street there in an old single-family house with his cats and his guns and his knives, and with Jim Grauerholtz, I think. Lawrence, Kansas, sleepy university town, you know. He had a little house on an out-of-the-way street there. He showed us around his backyard. He was really interested in the occult. He built this orgone accumulator box, which was originally invented by Wilhelm Reich. It was the size of a small closet, and it looked like an outhouse. It was a bunch of plywood sheets with a hole cut in the door, and he would sit in there. I think Reich's theory was that sitting in there would allow you to gather certain accumulations of orgone energy. Here we are in the backyard. William's showing us around. That's his garage there where he was doing some of those shotgun paintings, or he was displaying them in there anyway. Here's the orgone box he's showing. William and Thurston are looking in on the orgone box that William built in his backyard. He had a typewriter in his backyard. I took some pictures of it. It was deep in the weeds with vines growing out through the keys, and it was sort of becoming a part of the earth back there. He had a bunch of different weird objects in his garden in the backyard. He had an old car that had weeds growing up through the floorboards and stuff like that. But his typewriter for a writer, for the writer that William was, really intrigued me somehow. So here we're looking at his pond in the backyard. This is the first time we went. The second time we went, William had built a new pond in the backyard, and he was showing us that when we went there and when we took Michael Stipe with us to visit him. He's showing us around his backyard. He was very proud of his little house. He really enjoyed it. And he was just living, you know, living away from everybody, just living by himself. Here he is walking with Terry, our sound man, looking around the backyard. He showed us his cats. He had a lot of cats running around. Here he's signing one of the books. Of course, we all brought different books for him to sign. So he's signing Terry's copy of Naked Lunch, I think. That's Suzanne on the bus after we left Lawrence, Kansas, and we were rolling west into the Red Mountains. There they are.
I don't think many people realize the extent to which this complete split between doctrine and practice is inherent in the Christian religion. And they either attack it from the materialistic point of view, Many say that there was no such person as Jesus Christ. This is all a retroactive invention. Or the religious point of view, there's nothing in between at all. Nothing was taken into account. You know, the question as to whether Jesus actually did these miracles. Of course he did, some of them. Now the Buddhists take a very dim view of miracles and healing. They say if you can, don't. First place, you're upsetting the whole order, if there is any order, with incalculable long-range consequences. That's one thing. And often the healer or the miracle man is motivated by idiotic self-glorification, vanity in its most malignant form. So, and also, of course, any miracle man puts himself in great danger. If you can, don't. That's what the Buddhists say. And they can. They usually don't.
Do you think that Christianity, let me put it another way. Can you explain why Christianity is still so very much influential in the United States?
Well, it's influential worldwide. Well, not exactly. That is partly what I'm going to try to get at in the book. But one hold that it has, of course, is this the gap between theory and practice. Actually, a Christian is not called upon to do anything or to change his way of thinking or acting in any way. And that appeals. That has a wide appeal. In fact, that nothing is expected of them except surface, except observing lip service to Christianity. You have to pray all the time. Look at the Muslims. They're supposed to pray 5 times a day. That takes up some time. Christians don't have to do anything. Just go to church on Sunday and not even that. Unless they feel like it.
Can you see sort of line going through the newer novels, say from Cities of the Red Knights to this book on Jesus Christ?
Well, yes, of course the Cities of the Red Knight and Place of Dead Rose in the Western Lands are part of a trilogy. This book on Christ is sort of aside, another issue.
Could you explain something about the trilogy?
Well, it's all the same people, same characters carry over. We have the Cities of the Red Knight, consideration of this virus and its effects, and then the Place of Dead Rose is an expansion of that, time travel. And the Western Land sort of concludes the trilogy. It does conclude the trilogy.
Bearing these things in mind, when you're talking about the book about Christ, does it annoy you that most of the reviews of the Western Lands are saying it's your last novel?
No. It's the end of a trilogy. Well, no, they can say, another novel, that's fine. Yes, many other things. Maybe.
Do you find even any humour in that at all?
What?
Do you find any irony or humour even in that? No?
None whatever.
Maybe a lot of people also thought that the Western Lands would be your last book here, because you've taken up painting.
Well, find that there's so many ideas that I can express in painting that I can't express in writing. There are things you can do in painting, of course, you can't do in writing. Vice versa, things you can do in writing, you can't do in painting. No, I think trying to make some synthesis of the two. I was thinking possibly of illustrations for the book on Christ.
Well, maybe you should tell something more about your painting, because I have the impression that most people are not aware of this activity.
Well, painting is, it isn't pop art. It doesn't, I don't think it falls into any of the artistic classifications. It's very much influenced by Brian Geisen, his calligraphy, and the brushwork. There are also elements of randomity that you find in Pollock and Eve Klein. That is the way in which in the wood pieces I explode cans of spray paint with a shotgun. Then you get an explosion of color, and then you get several colors forming unpredictable patterns. Now, they used to let paint drip down the canvas. This is a much more extreme form of randomity, since it goes in all directions and it's quite unpredictable. There's no way to predict the patterns. Of course, then there's also the grain of the wood. I want wood that has the most grain and knots and that sort of thing. So the pieces are absolutely, you can say, they're absolutely, what would you call it? What do you call it? Exclusive. They cannot be reproduced. It's impossible to reproduce one of these wood paintings with a shotgun blast. Paint blasted across the surface in these random patterns. However, usually I do not leave it there. I may prepare the surface first with calligraphy or silhouettes in a number of different ways, or I may work it over afterwards. It's only occasionally that I look out and with a couple of shotgun blasts get something that doesn't need to be touched. You know, that doesn't happen very often. When it does, I'm lucky. Very important for a painter to know when to stop, when the painting is finished. So sometimes I take one look and say, not another thing.
Well, that's
Other times they aren't finished. There's a lot more that can be done.
That's what you can have with writing as well. It's when you overwrite. You can have as your own theory says.
Yes, but it's much more sensitive with painting, because you can, if you overwrite, you can pick it out. But once you get it in there, it's not so easy to take it out in painting. And furthermore, in painting, it's much more delicate. There's a few words that doesn't make a difference. But in painting, one stroke of the brush too many can be disastrous.
Did you find a necessity to make something that's impossible to copy?
No, that's not necessary. It just happens by the method of producing the picture. It cannot be produced. Even the ones that are pure brushwork will be very difficult to produce.
I remember that I think Brian Geisen once said something in an interview about you've taken up painting, well, maybe 25 years ago, 30 years ago.
No, I didn't do anything like I did a great deal of montage work.
In the case of the United States of America versus Wilhelm Reich, the U.S. District Court ruled that his published works be destroyed. The Discovery of the Orgone, Volume 1, The Function of the Orgasm, Volume 2, Cancer Biopathy, Ether, God and Devil, Cosmic Superimposition, Listen, Little Man, The Murder of Christ, People in Trouble. In our sick society, everyone is sick. A human being averages 4,000 orgasms per lifetime. Do not turn off this pulsating motor of joy and life energy. Orgasmotherapy is the program of Sexpol, as taught by the revolutionary doctor and communist Wilhelm Reich. Comrades, make love joyously and without fear. Let the current flow sweetly up your spine. Let your hips roll and your mouth water. Saliva is good. Embracing lovers radiate a bluish light, orgone illumination, the same sort of light the astronauts saw in outer space. Let us reactivate the natural vibrations within ourselves and society. Let the current stream sweetly through your muscles. Feel free to tremble and cry. Let yourself enjoy your body. As revolutionaries whose revolution renounces love, we feel very uncomfortable. What's happening to the revolution? Each baby is a new approach to life. How can we help this new being to grow up free? The man who discovered orgone, cosmic energy, the energy of life and love, fled from Hitler and Stalin to America, land of the free. He gave up the ideologies of his youth, eventually voting for Eisenhower. In Maine, he set up the Orgone Laboratory, a scientific research center. How can we rid our planet of its deadly clouds of smog? How can we make the deserts green and fruitful?
I am a real boy. Look at me dance. Listen to me talk. Old Capetto smiled, for he knew in his heart that Pinocchio had much to learn before he could be a real boy.
Dr. Sheriff?
Yeah, I'm here in the accumulator. Shall we come out now, talk, because they want to talk? And there are about, I would say maybe not more than 10 or 15 of these now being used in the country. There were at the height of the interest, and when Reich was still alive, and before the injunction, there were about 300. It's just organic material on the outside, organic material, and metal material on the inside. And the organic thing operates like a nylon material, which collects what's called static electricity, or what Reich called orgone energy.
The orgone accumulator, orgone shooter, and orgone blanket were used in the treatment of ailments due to a low energy level in the body and experimentally in the treatment of cancer.
Maybe 25 years ago, 30 years ago.
No. I didn't do anything like I did a great deal of montage work, scrapbooks, and that sort of thing, but nothing that could be called, well, of course you can call montage. Painting, very definitely. Like Rauschenberg done a great deal of montage. And photo collages and, juxtapositions of images and words and so on. But what I'm doing now is, in many cases, a straight painting, which I had not done until I started really about 6 years ago. Started with the shotgun pieces and then very rapidly went on to elaborate those and then on to paper.
Do you think you've paid any contribution with your montage and collage work to, say, the current television making?
Well, television or anything that's occurring in the visual arts is draws data from all kinds of sources, and the whole montage method has been very much a source of data for many years. Long before I had anything to do with it, it's one of the early directions in which art went when they turned away from representational art.
Well, the difference between data and you could be that Well, you spoke seriously about it, or thought seriously about it.
Well, there are a number of differences. Dada did not go too far on the way of randomity. In fact, they avoided the area.
So it is very well possible that your influence on television making is much bigger than most people recognize.
Well, it's incalculable because there's so many other factors. There's no way to say precisely how it affected television.
I'm sure a lot of television makers must have read your books and
some of them.
Or do you know how you used your methods?
Hmm?
Do you know how they used your methods?
No, but the use of cut-ups is implicit in the medium. I mean, they make so many hours of footage, and they're going to use so much of it. So the important thing is the editing.
Gentlemen, this was to be expected. After all, he's been a medium all his life. Lock them out and block the door, bar them out forevermore. Knock them out. Lock is mine and door is mine. 3 times 3 to make up 9. Change the lock and change the door. Smear them out forevermore. Curse, go back. Curse, go back. Back with double pain and lack. Curse, go back. Curse, go back. Back with double fear and black. Silver arrow through the night. Silver arrow, take thy flight. Silver arrow, seek and find. Cursing heart and cursing mind. Yep, cut.
Cutting. Most important work in film, I suppose the same is true of television, is done in the cutting room.
Got any questions, James?
I have a very flippant question. I remember reading in the past that you said you'd made yourself available for playing the role of the President of the United States, should any film offers come up. And I hear that since Reagan is going out of office soon, he has said that he might possibly play himself once he leaves office. Do you feel any resentment that he's taken away your...
Oh, no. I played the President of the United States in a science fiction film in London, in England, years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Just a very brief years.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't feel any deprivation.
How do you view going back to London?
Going back to London, I'm going through London on my way. I'm going there primarily for the show, which is on the 31st. Of May, the show of my painting at the October Gallery.
Do you still enjoy Britain? Even though you always say you never really enjoyed living in Britain. Do you actually enjoy visiting England?
Well, I'm there for business, primarily.
Has anybody approached you at all to say anything on the subject of Section 28, which is the new legislation banning the promotion of homosexuality in education or the media at all?
Yes, I heard about it. I think David Hockney made a protest. I think he withdrew his painting from the Late show. No, nobody has said anything to me about it.
I still find surprising that your books aren't banned. Or some of your books aren't banned.
Where?
I find it surprising.
Where? Aren't banned where?
In England.
Well, no, we've never had any trouble. Well, the thing is, they've been around so long. Senator Mullins had the greatest, one of the greatest advantages or attributes a writer could have is longevity. If he lives long enough, he's the grand old man of letters. And therefore becomes sort of immune banning. It's much too late.
Do you think there's a subject you would like to talk about now? Like, listen, do you think there's a subject you would like to talk about now?
Well, no, nothing special unless you have some questions.
Would you be prepared to do some kind of special reading for the viewers of Robotnik TV?
Well, you mean repetition of the reading that I did last night, the night before?
Yeah, something like that. Or do you know something by head?
Not right offhand. Well, of course, the reading I did had nothing to do with the art.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I would like is some kind of direct talk to the viewers of our television program, because, as you know, one of the first most impacts of television is when people speak directly to the viewers.
Yes. Well, but on what subject?
Any kind of subject.
I see. I want to give a talk on representational art, modern art, and how the representational art. Well, the whole idea of the cut-up method was that it's closer to the facts of human perception. Life is a cut-up. As soon as you look out the window or walk around the block, your consciousness is being cut by random factors. And the idea of the painter or the writer producing in a timeless vacuum is a fiction. It's time to dispense with it because it has nothing to do with reality. Life is a cut-up. And that should certainly be reflected in both writing and painting, I feel. So the cut-ups introduced a random factor into writing, and then there are many ways that you can introduce many more ways that you can introduce random factors into painting. Well, with a blast of a shotgun, or you can do this ink blot art, putting colors on a page and then another page over there. But usually you'll find that it requires additional work. Because you make random patterns and then you make impose random order by using silhouettes. If you don't have a random factor in painting or writing, it gets dead repetitious.
Do you think the same method applies to, for instance, making films or television as well?
Oh, even more so. Films have been employing random factors for a long time. As soon as they get out of the studio, they're doing these beat shooting. Naturally, there are random factors. Some of the best effects would be accidents. Yes, it's actually this random has been done for a long time in film, in music of John Cage and Earl Brown. It's been used for a long time in music and painting, and also in film. But of course, in painting or in writing, it isn't so much the technique you use as the final result. It must be judged on the object itself, the book, or the painting, not on the way in which it was produced. Although Clay says that the way in which a work is produced is more important than the work itself, which would lead to presenting your palettes as the work of art and throwing the painting away. But I find you can keep both. I have gotten some very good effects. See, on a piece of paper I've got here, just to see if the ink is, what the color of the ink is. And often by the time I'm finished, the test paper is as interesting as the picture itself.
Tango.